failed your class. Twice.
Twice? Well, you certainly are a determined one.
Not enough, I suppose. I dropped literature for journalism after your class. I figured I wasn't up to par.
I had no idea.
I feel bad about it's for the best, I suppose. But you're brilliant. You were the first woman to receive a professorship at Cambridge, for Christ's sake. Every English student in the department was intimidated by you. Hastings the Horrible. That's what we used to call you. No, I don't mean to say we hated you. It wasn't like that at all. It was approachable.
Hastings the Horrible? I don't know what to say. I know that I have high standards, but I didn't realize that
you were a fantastic lecturer. Especially fear that taken for granted. Think of this as your opportunity to show your readers a side of you they haven't seen before. Like what? You could start with your personal life.
My personal life? What life would that be, precisely?
Was there a Mr. Hastings?
There hasn't been a Mr. Hastings for quite some time.
But there was one.
Yes, I suppose there was.
Why don't you tell me about him?
My husband?
Yes. What did he do?
He was a novelist. Not an exceptional one, but honest, which I suppose is more important. He died several years ago. Thank you, it was some time.
How long were you married?
He was my second husband. We were married for almost 20 years, but I had known him years before we were married. We were at university together.
How did you meet in university?
Yes, we did. I did my undergraduate studies in London. Jonathan Hastings was the brother of my flatmate Helen. They were in my close circle of friends.
Well, did you and Mr. Hastings date in college?
No, I was seeing Jonathan's friend at the time, Charles. Charles Reed. He was my first husband.
Why don't you tell me about Charles?
Charles was a decent man. I met him through Helen, when we first year flatmates. Well, I suppose I met him through Jonathan. Jonathan was ever the dutiful older brother, and he kept a close eye on Helen. He would bring Charles around to our flat. They were the best of friends. I was very young when I met Charles. It was the first time when I was responsible for myself, and I don't think I was quite prepared for that. And Charles took care of me. He was very attentive. I know it must sound strange to hear an outspoken feminist scholar talk about having a man take care of her, but I wasn't a feminist quite yet. I scarcely think anyone I knew at that age was a feminist. The movement had hardly begun to take off. You have to understand, it was a different time. It was the 50s. There were few options for a woman. I was following the script which we were given. The mere fact that I was pursuing a degree was out of the ordinary.
I don't think I understand, Professor.
Well, Charles and I had a very brief marriage. It became clear very quickly that we were not suited for each other in the long run.
How long were you married?
We were together for 5 years. Charles was very traditional. And when I made it clear that I could not be the kind of wife he had envisioned, well, things ended fairly quickly.
What sort of wife was he looking for?
Well, certainly not one who was pursuing a career in academia. It was just all very strange. We were all such free spirits when we first met. He was the first boy I fell for. We were young, and everyone remembers the 60s as a sexual revolution. But the 50s, it wasn't that we were repressed. It was just more subtle and exhilarating.